That's the second bike that's refused to stop for enforcers. Good morning everyone, MMDA back on the road. Right now they're in Barangay 201, Pasay City. Well, today they're acting on a complaint. They've been asked here specifically to operate on illegally parked vehicles and sidewalk obstructions. And they just flagged down this motorcycle over here, back rider, no helmet. The driver has a license, so issue a ticket, send him on his way. It looks like he has a spare helmet there also. They just stopped this motorcycle here. Daddy has a helmet, but a little boy hanging on the back without a helmet. Really, he needs to consider the safety of his child. And they just stopped this motorcycle here. Mummy has a helmet, but little girl, no helmet, unfortunately. Again, unfortunately, a little boy without a helmet on the back of the motorcycle. And right now, the team are issuing a ticket to this vehicle. They consider it to be illegally parked. Apparently the Barangay have a one-side parking scheme over on the other side, and over here they'll be issuing a ticket to this one, obstructing the sidewalk. You can imagine if someone's in a wheelchair, what's their option? They have to go in the road and risk being hit by vehicles. Sidewalks are always for pedestrians, never for parking. And you'll see there are signs posted here, no parking between 6 AM and 8 PM. And they just stopped this motorcycle here. You can see there's actually 3 people on board, which is considered as excess passenger, so they'll be issuing a ticket now. The sidewalks in this area are pretty narrow, and when you get to certain points you see things like this where the garage is extended out, so of course pedestrians can't really pass here anymore. And over there you've got an eatery consuming the sidewalk. Unfortunately the team don't have any sidewalk clearing team with them today. And right now they're looking at this one, double parked here. This is a service road. It does get quite busy. According to the Barangay, they actually have a one-side parking that also extends onto this road, but this is a national road. I very much doubt there's a valid one-side parking here. And they're also looking to issue a ticket to this motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. That's the second bike that's refused to stop for enforcers. They've now staged the enforcers much further apart, so they have a better chance of catching those who refuse to stop. What they really need is one of the big bike riders to stand by and chase those who run. And you'll see Cesar's now moving in to issue a ticket to this vulcanizing shop. If they obstruct the sidewalk with their tools, that's the time they can be ticketed. The MMDA have no power to close these shops, but if they obstruct the sidewalk, they'll get a ticket, 1,000 peso. If they had sidewalk clearing with them, they could actually confiscate those tools. The problem is these vulcanizing shops have no space for their customers. The customers park in the road, they get ticketed, and then the vulcanizing shops, they don't really care because they're earning anyway. But this time, they'll be ticketed. So this shop does have a permit to operate, but if you look on the back, it specifically says this permit shall be automatically revoked if found operating riverbanks, sidewalks and streets. And if you look right here, you can see they're operating on the sidewalk. They're using it for vulcanizing. Another thing the permit says is you can't use the street itself, and obviously they've got their customers parked here while having their tires vulcanized. So really, this is the problem with vulcanizing shops that don't have any space for customers. And they're now issuing a ticket to this van for obstructing what should be the sidewalk. That's why this lady over here is walking in the road. And just behind that van, they're issuing tickets to these 2 motorcycles also parked on the sidewalk. And I'm wondering what happened here, because look at all this garbage and mud and general dirt that's on the floor here. What happened? Why is it like this? Okay, here's another one refusing to stop. You see enforcers chasing him, but it's too many people ahead. They're not gonna let that happen again. That will be a ticket for riding without crash helmet, even if they're just going nearby. And one more ticket being issued over here. Unfortunately, motorcycle driver without crash helmet and driving in slippers. And over here issuing a ticket for a back rider without a crash helmet. They've been asking the driver to surrender his license, but it seems like he wants to call a lifeline. So as you heard there, the driver wanted the enforcer to speak to someone on the cell phone. There's no need. Violation's violation. He'll just write the ticket out to the plate number, and it will be more expensive since he doesn't want to or cannot surrender the license. And of course there are signs here which say no parking, so it's very clear. And it's not just cars being ticketed, they're also issuing a ticket to this motorcycle that was parked here when they arrived. Driver has come out and given a license, so no problem. And they just flagged over this motorcycle rider, handed over his license, no argument. The violation is dress code, driving in slippers, which is 500 peso. And the team are now looking to issue a ticket to this vehicle sitting on the sidewalk, hazard lights on. Likewise that one in the background there. The enforcer spoke to the driver. Unfortunately she doesn't want to surrender her license. I guess she doesn't believe that this is a violation, so they're now writing it out to the plate number, and again it will be the more expensive ticket. If you look here, you'll see multiple people walking in the road. What's the reason? Sidewalk is obstructed, so it's very obvious. And they're also looking for the owner of this motorcycle. Like I mentioned, if no driver comes out, it's unattended, 2,000 peso, written out to the plate number. And then now issuing a ticket to this motorcycle. Unfortunately, passenger without crash helmet. And they just stopped this motorcycle here. 2 reasons. 1, driving in slippers. 2, there's a little girl standing on the front of the motorcycle. That's not allowed. The child always has to sit on the back. Their feet have to be able to reach their foot pegs, and their arms go around the waist of the driver. If that can't happen, they're not allowed on the motorcycle. One more driver stopped over here, unfortunately no helmet. He just went out to buy pan de sal, but that could be the one time you get in an accident with a vehicle, especially a car or a truck, so they will still issue a ticket. And one more ticket being issued over here, again dress code, driving in slippers. And this gentleman just surrendered his license. He's being ticketed for a no crash helmet. You'll see there's a lot of structures that have been demolished here, perhaps because of the 60-day deadline. There are a lot of vulcanizing shops and things like that. And it's probably good that they've been demolished, because not only will it free up the sidewalk once all the rubble is taken away, but also it will prevent people from parking here while they get their vehicles vulcanized and adding to traffic. And they're now issuing a ticket to this one on the sidewalk. The driver has come out, so if he surrenders his license and moves the vehicle, he'll be given the cheaper ticket. And they're also looking to issue a ticket to this Peugeot, the white one, for obstructing the sidewalk. Actually, the parking space is big enough. The problem is there's a motorcycle parked in front of him, and that's why he's had to obstruct the sidewalk. Anyway, no argument from the driver, surrendering the license. And they're now issuing tickets to these 2 vehicles. I think they might have been buying their breakfast or lunch. They came out now, both drivers, and they're being asked for their license before they drive away. And you'll see there are signages here, no parking this side, so everybody's aware. And they're now looking at this one sitting on the sidewalk with his hazards. Actually, they thought it was unattended, but it turns out the driver just put his seat down. And the team are now issuing a ticket to this multi-cab for a legal terminal. And the same thing over here. They know they're not allowed to make a terminal here, but they keep doing it every day. The fixed post enforcer is now looking at this bus. He's actually managed to obstruct 2 lanes in the way he stopped for loading, unloading, and he's not actually allowed to do that. So the enforcer is telling him now pull over to the side and he'll be issued a ticket. And right now they're issuing a ticket to this Hilux for obstructing the road and potentially even the sidewalk, although there's not much of a sidewalk here. One of the local fixed post enforcers has said that he keeps telling them don't park here, don't park here, don't park here. And Cesar has now come in. He wants to issue an environmental ticket because they have a generator out here, and if you look on the floor, it's obviously, or it appears to be, leaking oil. And well, you can see there in the water. And you might remember this road in Baclaran, it always used to be such heavy traffic, it took a long time to get through here. Now they've removed the vendors from both of the sidewalks and from the road, no more traffic. So, you know, it does have an immediate effect. And those vendors that were affected by being removed from the road, they can now operate in legitimate marketplaces, although pedestrians obviously still need to learn how to use the sidewalk rather than walking in the road itself. You might remember that they used to allow vendors in this road here on the roundabout. They're all gone. And what you'll notice is all the shops that used to be closed, they're now open. Same thing on the other side here. All the shops that used to be closed are now open, because instead of having the vendors on the road, they've just opened their doors and put them inside. So I mean, it benefits everybody. Unfortunately, under the LRT itself, it's same business as usual. All of the sidewalks obstructed by the shops here extending over. And I don't know, this area has always been a very weak point for enforcement, maybe because many of the barangay are actually working as vendors themselves. And you see a lot of people now come out to move their motorcycles, also parked on the center island here. I guess one positive thing I can say is that they do now have trash bags and there's not as much garbage on the floor. You might remember when the team used to go here, the whole place was just covered in garbage and pee and urine and poop. And now it's nowhere near as bad. There's a little bit, but it's so much better than before. And on the other side, there's a lot of people that have come out to remove their stuff from the sidewalk. They know they're not meant to be there, but again, like I said, this is a weak point under the LRT station in Baclaran. Over here, they're taking their luggage off the sidewalk. Again, a million times they've been warned. Unfortunately, the MMDA don't have any sidewalk clearing team with them today, so they can't confiscate any of these items or stools. And well, same faces, same places, same problems, no improvement. the thing is, they already have a legitimate space inside. There's no need to extend out over the sidewalk.